The laughter echoed through the glittering ballroom like shards of ice, piercing Kelly's heart as Angela's voice rose above the holiday cheer. "It must be so sad spending Christmas all alone, Kelly," Angela said with a saccharine smile, her words laced with venom, loud enough for every guest to hear. But as Kelly stood there, humiliated yet composed, she knew the real joke was on them. Her secret family of 4 identical daughters, fathered by Craig during their marriage, waited just outside, ready to shatter their perfect world forever. Welcome back, my beautiful family. Before we begin, please click subscribe, like this video, and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. Your support helps us bring more thrilling stories, and trust me, you won't want to miss them. Now let's get into the story. Kelly Thompson stood frozen in her Greenwich driveway, the gold envelope clutched in her trembling hands under the fading December light. The elaborate script on the front spelled out her name in swirling letters that seemed almost mocking. She didn't need to open it to know what it was, the annual Wilson Christmas party invitation. It had been 2 years since the divorce, 2 years since Craig had walked out, citing her inability to give him the family he craved. Last year, the invitation hadn't come, a silent confirmation that she was no longer part of their world. So why now? Why this sudden olive branch? Or was it something more sinister? A small voice broke through her thoughts. "Miss Thompson, are you okay?" It was Joey, the 8-year-old boy from next door, kicking at a pile of autumn leaves that the winter wind had scattered across the pavement. His innocent concern pulled her back to the present, and she forced a smile, tucking the envelope into her coat pocket. "I'm fine, sweetie. Just lost in thought. Shouldn't you be inside? It's getting cold out here. Mom says dinner's in 20 minutes. Joey replied, giving the leaves one last kick before scampering back to his house. Kelly watched him go, envying the simplicity of his world. Inside her modest rental home, a far cry from the sprawling estate she and Craig had once shared, she dropped her teacher's bag by the door and pulled out the envelope again. Her fingers hesitated over the seal, but curiosity won out. She tore it open, and the words jumped at her. "Mr. and Mrs. Craig Wilson request the pleasure of your company at their annual Christmas celebration." She sank onto the couch, the envelope fluttering to her lap. Why invite her now? After the way Craig had left her, after the fertility treatments that had failed time and time again, draining their savings and her spirit, he'd grown impatient, distant, until one day he announced he was done. Done with the disappointment, done with her. Within months, he'd married Angela, a younger model with a perfect smile and apparently a fertile womb. Their son Jackson had arrived soon after, plastered all over social media as proof of their perfect little family. The phone rang, jolting her from the spiral of memories. She answered without thinking, her teacher voice kicking in. "Greenwich Elementary, Miss Thompson speaking." "You're home, not at school." Her best friend Rachel laughed on the other end. "Bad day with the third graders?" "Sorry, force of habit," Kelly sighed, rubbing her temple. "Actually, something weird just happened. I got an invitation to Craig and Angela's Christmas party." Silence stretched across the line for several seconds. "Tell me you're joking," Rachel finally said. "After how they treated you? After he left you because the fertility treatments weren't working fast enough?" "It's addressed to me specifically. Not a mistake." "You're not going, right? Please tell me you're not considering it." Kelly glanced at the invitation again, her mind racing. "I don't know, Ratch. Maybe it's time I stopped hiding." "Hiding from what? You've moved on brilliantly. New job, new place." "Rachel," Kelly interrupted, her voice dropping to a whisper, "there's something I never told you. Something big." "What are you talking about?" "I can't explain over the phone. Can you come over tomorrow after school, around 4? Rachel hesitated. "You're scaring me a little. Are you okay?" "I'm better than okay. But I need to show you something. And after that, I think I might go to that party after all." After hanging up, Kelly opened her laptop and navigated to a travel booking site. She booked a one-way ticket from Boston to LaGuardia on December 21st, 3 days before the party. Then she made another call. "Martha, it's Kelly. I need a huge favor." She paused, listening. "Yes, it's about the girls. We're going on a trip. A very important trip." She finished her calls and changed into comfortable clothes, making a simple dinner of pasta and salad. As she ate, she scrolled through her phone, stopping at an Instagram post from Angela Wilson. The photo showed a lavishly decorated living room, Angela cradling baby Jackson in front of a towering Christmas tree with Craig standing behind them, all smiles. The caption read, "Our perfect little family celebrating the season. #blessed. #Wilson Christmas." Perfect little family. Kelly set her phone down with a thud. At 9 o'clock, her phone buzzed with a video call. She answered immediately. "Hi, Mom." Her mother's face filled the screen, warm and familiar. "Are they still up?" "Just finished their baths. They're all clean and in pajamas. Want to say goodnight?"
"Hi, my loves," Kelly said, her eyes misting over. "Emma, Olivia, Ava, Sophia, Mama misses you so much." "They've been angels today," her mother said, turning the camera back. "Your father read them 3 stories before they'd settle. They definitely have your stubborn streak." "And their father's eyes," Kelly added quietly. "Mom, I've made a decision. I'm coming home early the day after tomorrow, and I'm taking the girls to Connecticut for Christmas." Her mother's expression turned serious. "Are you sure that's wise? Craig doesn't even know they exist." "He will soon. I got an invitation to their Christmas party." "Oh, Kelly, is this really how you want to do this?" Kelly nodded firmly. "They're 14 months old now. It's time their father knew about them, even if he never wanted them, even if he never wants them." "And how do you think Angela will react when you show up with 4 babies that look just like her husband?" "That's not my concern," Kelly said, though her stomach twisted at the thought. "My only concern is my daughters knowing where they came from." After saying goodnight and blowing kisses to her sleepy daughters, Kelly opened a desk drawer and pulled out a legal document, the divorce agreement that granted her full rights to the embryos she and Craig had created during their fertility treatments. Craig had been so eager to move on that he'd barely skimmed the paperwork, signing away any claim without a second thought. The irony burned. The embryos he'd dismissed had become 4 beautiful girls, each a mirror of him in ways that would be impossible to deny. She looked at their most recent photo on her phone, all 4 in matching turkey outfits for Thanksgiving. Emma, the bold leader, always at the front. Olivia, the quiet observer, clutching her blanket. Ava, the comedian, caught mid-laugh. Sophia, the peacemaker, holding her sister's hand. For 14 months, Kelly had built a secret life in Boston with her parents' help and Martha, the retired nurse she'd hired part-time. A bubble of love and safety, shielding the girls from the rejection Kelly had endured. But that invitation changed everything. It was time to burst the bubble. Kelly picked up her phone one last time. "Martha, one more thing. Could you make sure the girls have matching Christmas dresses? Something in red velvet with white bows would be perfect." She paused. "Yes, for the party. We'll need to make quite an entrance." As she hung up, Kelly whispered to the photo, "It's time to meet your father," feeling a mix of terror and empowerment surge through her. She slipped the invitation into her purse, her decision sealed. Kelly Thompson would attend Craig and Angela Wilson's Christmas party, but she wouldn't be alone. The next morning, Kelly woke early, her mind buzzing with plans. Her first thought was the dress she'd need for the party. Something elegant, something that would armor her against the stares and whispers. After her morning coffee, she called Rachel. "I need to go shopping for a dress today after school. Can you come with me?" Rachel sighed dramatically. "You're really going to that party, aren't you?" "Yes, and I have something important to tell you when I see you." "This better be good," Rachel said. "Meet me at the mall at 4:30. At the department store that afternoon, Kelly rifled through racks of holiday dresses. Nothing felt right until she spotted a royal blue gown that would accentuate her dark skin and bring out her eyes. She emerged from the fitting room, and Rachel nodded approvingly. "That color is perfect on you, but I still don't get why you're putting yourself through this."
Kelly took a deep breath. Rachel, after the divorce, I moved to Boston. I know that. What you don't know is that before I left, I used the embryos Craig and I created during our fertility treatments. Rachel's mouth fell open. You what? I had the legal right. It was in the divorce agreement. Are you saying I have 14-month-old quadruplet daughters, 4 identical little girls? Rachel steadied herself against the wall. 4 babies? By yourself? How? I had help. My parents moved from Arizona. I hired Martha, a part-time nanny. My neighbors in Boston have been incredible. And Craig has no idea. Kelly shook her head. He's about to find out at the Christmas party. Rachel's eyes widened. Oh my God, you're going to bring 4 babies to their party? That's exactly what I'm going to do. Later that evening, Kelly called Martha to discuss the plan. We should do a practice run, Martha suggested. Getting all 4 dressed in fancy outfits at once is going to be a challenge. Good idea, Kelly agreed. I'll be home tomorrow. We can practice on Saturday. Have you thought about where we should wait with the girls? We can't sit in the car for hours. There's a coffee shop 2 blocks from Craig's house. I checked on Google Maps. We can wait there until I text you. And you're sure about this? Once this happens, everything changes. Kelly looked at the invitation on her counter. I'm sure. Her phone buzzed with a text from Angela. Just confirming you're coming to our party. Do you need a +1 arrangement since you're still single? Happy to accommodate. A. The condescension dripped from the words. Kelly typed back, her hand steady. No +1 needed. See you at 7. Doubt flickered for a moment. Was she right to disrupt Craig's life? But scrolling through photos of her daughters, their faces with Craig's eyes staring back, solidified her resolve. They deserved the truth. 20 miles away in Greenwich, Connecticut, Angela Wilson directed staff around her mansion like a general. The ice sculpture goes there, not there, she snapped at a delivery man. And make sure the lighting hits it just right. Craig walked in, eyes on his phone. Guest list is finalized. Yes, Angela said. Everyone who's anyone will be here. Oh, and your ex-wife is coming too. Craig's head snapped up. Kelly? Why did you invite her? Angela smiled thinly. Don't you think it'll be nice for her to see how happy we are? How perfect our family is? That seems unnecessary. It's my party too, Craig, and I want her to see what she couldn't give you. Angela picked up Jackson from his playpen. Smile, baby. Mommy needs a new Instagram post. She posed with him in front of their 12-foot tree, snapping photos before handing him to the nanny. Take him upstairs for his nap. Make sure his outfit is pressed. Craig watched the nanny leave. Do you think it's wise to have Jackson up so late? He's only 13 months. He needs to be there. He's the whole point, to show our perfect family. In Boston the next day, Kelly returned to her apartment. Her mother opened a door, and the sound of little feet followed. 4 identical toddlers in matching pajamas wobbled around the corner, arms outstretched. My babies, Kelly dropped to her knees, gathering them in a hug. I missed you so much. They've been asking for you, her father said. Well, saying mama and pointing at your picture.
Kelly kissed each head. Emma, my brave leader. Olivia, my quiet thinker. Ava, my little comedian. Sophia, my sweet peacemaker. Are you sure about this party plan? Her mother asked. Mom, they need to know where they came from. Craig needs to know about them, even if it hurts his new wife and their baby. I'm not doing this to hurt anyone, Kelly insisted. I'm doing this because it's the truth. The next morning, Martha arrived with 4 red velvet dresses. Let's see if we can get them all dressed for practice. It took 45 minutes. Emma smudged chocolate on her collar. Ava lost a shoe. Sophia cried when Olivia pulled her hair. This is going to be harder than I thought, Kelly laughed. We'll get it right on party day, Martha assured. I've been thinking, we should decorate the quad stroller with Christmas ribbons. Subtle, but enough for an entrance. Perfect! Kelly practiced her speech in the mirror that night, but nothing sounded right. How do you tell a man he has 4 children he never knew?
On Monday, back in her third-grade classroom, her students made Christmas cards. "Miss Thompson, I made this for you," a little girl named Mia handed her, a glittery card. "Thank you, Mia. It's beautiful. Are you going anywhere for Christmas?" "Yes, I'm taking my family to a special party." "Your family? Do you have kids?" Kelly smiled. "I do. 4 little girls." 4? That's a lot. "Yes, it is. And they're all the same age." "Wow! Can you bring them to class?" "Not this time, but maybe someday." That evening, Kelly laid out her blue dress and the heart pendant Craig had given her on their first anniversary. She hadn't worn it since the divorce, but it felt right now, a symbol of closure. Her phone rang. It was Dr. Samantha Wells, her former fertility specialist. "Kelly, it's Dr. Wells. I received an invitation to Craig and Angela's party. I was surprised to see your name on the list, too." "Yes, I'll be there." "I just wanted to check if you're okay with that, given your history." Kelly took a deep breath. "Actually, Dr. Wells, I have something to tell you. Those embryos we created, they worked." A long pause. "All 4 of them," Kelly continued. "I have 14-month-old identical quadruplets." "My God," Dr. Wells gasped. "That's medically remarkable. All 4 implanted, all healthy?" "Perfectly healthy, and they'll all be at the party." Another pause. "Does Craig know?" "Not yet." "Kelly, this is going to be quite a revelation." "I know, but it's time." After hanging up, Kelly packed her suitcase. Tomorrow she'd drive to Boston, spend 2 days with her daughters, then bring them to Greenwich for the party that would change everything. She felt ready. Almost. Fear lingered, but thinking of her daughters strengthened her resolve. The time for hiding was over. The Boston apartment smelled of warm oatmeal and baby powder as Kelly bustled through the morning routine, her heart a tangle of nerves and determination. It was December 22nd, 2 days before the Wilson Christmas party, and the weight of her decision pressed against her like the winter chill seeping through the windows. Her 4 daughters, Emma, Olivia, Ava, and Sophia, sat in their high chairs, giggling as they smeared oatmeal across their trays. Their light brown curls bounced with each movement, and their hazel eyes, so unmistakably Craig's, sparkled with the innocent joy only toddlers could muster. Kelly watched them, her resolve hardening. This trip to Greenwich wasn't just about confronting Craig or upending Angela's carefully curated world. It was about giving her girls the truth, no matter how messy it might be. "Emma, sweetheart, don't paint the table." Kelly gently guided her daughter's hand away from the tray's edge. Angela, ever the leader, flashed a defiant grin before complying. Olivia, the quiet one, observed her sisters with a thoughtful frown, while Ava, true to her comedic nature, flicked a bit of oatmeal at Sophia, who squealed in protest. Kelly laughed, the sound easing the tension in her chest. These moments, chaotic and perfect, were why she'd kept her secret for 14 months. But the invitation in her purse, now tucked safely in her bedroom, had shifted something inside her. It was time. Her mother, Patricia, entered the kitchen carrying a stack of tiny socks. "You're up early," she noted, setting the socks on the counter. "Couldn't sleep?" "Not much," Kelly admitted, wiping Sophia's chin. "Too much on my mind." Patricia's eyes softened. "You're still set on this party plan?" she asked. Kelly nodded, her gaze drifting to the girls. "They deserve to know their father, Mom. And he needs to know them, even if he doesn't want to." Patricia sighed, folding a sock with deliberate care. "I just worry about how this will affect them. They're so young, Kelly. What if Craig reacts badly? What if Angela makes a scene?" "Then I'll handle it," Kelly said firmly. "I've handled everything else. Bed rest, delivery, sleepless nights. I can handle this." Her father, James, appeared in the doorway, his gray hair slightly mussed from playing with the girls earlier. "You're stronger than I was at your age," he said. "But your mother's right to worry. This isn't just about you or Craig. It's about those little ones." "I know, Dad," Kelly softened. That's why I'm doing this. They deserve a father who knows they exist, even if he doesn't want to be part of their lives." James nodded, but his brow furrowed. "And if he does want to be involved, what then? You've built a life here, Kelly. You sure you're ready to share them with him?"
The question hung in the air, heavy and unanswerable. Kelly hadn't let herself dwell too long on that possibility. For 14 months, she'd been everything to her daughters: mother, protector, provider. The idea of sharing them with Craig, a man who'd walked away when she needed him most, stirred a mix of fear and resentment she wasn't ready to unpack. "I'll figure it out," she said finally, "one step at a time." Martha arrived at 9 o'clock, her arms laden with a bag of supplies. "Morning, everyone," she called, her cheerful voice filling the room. The girls squealed in recognition, and even Olivia, usually reserved, clapped her hands. Martha, a retired nurse with a knack for wrangling toddlers, had been a godsend since the girls were born. "I brought extra bows for the dresses," she said, setting her bag down, "and some emergency snacks. You never know what these for." "You're a save-lifer, Martha," Kelly said, managing a smile. "We're doing a practice run for the party outfits today. Want to help?" "Wouldn't miss it," Martha replied, already pulling out the red velvet dresses. "Let's see how these princesses look." Getting 4 14-month-olds into matching outfits was like herding cats in a windstorm. Emma squirmed, insisting on holding her stuffed bunny while Kelly wrestled her into tights. Avis yanked off one shoe the moment it was on, giggling as if it were a game. Olivia sat patiently but refused to let go of her blanket, and Sophia wailed when a bow slipped from her curls. By the time they were dressed, the kitchen looked like a tornado had hit, but the girls were a vision in red velvet, their white bows gleaming against their curls. "Look at them," Patricia said, her eyes misty. "They're like little Christmas angels." "They're perfect," Kelly whispered, snapping a photo. But as she looked at the image on her phone, her stomach twisted. These were Craig's daughters, too, and in 2 days, he'd see them for the first time. Would he see their beauty, their individuality, or would he see only the complication they represented? Martha adjusted Sophia's bow. "Have you practiced what you're going to say to him?" Kelly shook her head. "I've tried. Nothing feels right. Craig, meet your daughters sounds too simple, but anything more feels like a speech." "It'll come to you when the moment's right," Martha said. "Just speak from your heart. That's what matters." The rest of the day was a blur of packing and planning. Kelly's parents helped load the quad stroller into the minivan, ensuring it was secure for the trip to Greenwich. They'd decided to drive together, with Kelly following in her car to arrive at the party first. The plan was simple. She'd text Martha when the time was right, and they'd bring the girls to the mansion. The coffee shop 2 blocks away, the Sweet Bean, would be their staging ground. As evening fell, Kelly sat with her laptop, double-checking the logistics. The flight from Boston to LaGuardia tomorrow would be quick, but traveling with 4 toddlers was no small feat. She'd packed enough diapers, snacks, and toys to survive a small apocalypse. Her phone buzzed with a new text from Angela. "Looking forward to seeing you at the party. Sure you don't want to bring a date? Would hate for you to feel out of place. A." The passive-aggressive tone made Kelly's jaw clench. She typed a quick reply. "I'll be fine. Thanks for the concern." She hit send before she could overthink it, then set the phone down. Angela's cruelty was no new. She'd always been the type to smile while twisting the knife. But Kelly wasn't the broken woman Craig had left 2 years ago. She was a mother now, stronger than ever, and she'd walk into that party with her head high. That night, after the girls were asleep, Kelly stood in the nursery watching their tiny chests rise and fall. The room was simple but warm, painted soft yellow with stuffed animals and well-loved books lining the shelves. It was nothing like the opulent nursery Angela would no doubt have for Jackson, but it was home. Kelly's fingers brushed the legal document in her pocket, the legal agreement that had given her the right to use the embryos.
Craig had signed it without a second glance, too eager to escape the marriage he deemed a failure. The irony wasn't lost on her. Those embryos, forgotten by him, had become her greatest treasure. Her mother joined her, placing a gentle hand on her shoulder. "You're doing a brave thing, Kelly. I just hope you're ready for what comes after. I'm not sure anyone could be ready for this, but I can't keep hiding them. They're his daughters too." Patricia nodded. "Just promise me you'll protect yourself as much as you protect them." "I will," Kelly said, though the promise felt fragile. She kissed each girl goodnight, lingering on their soft cheeks, then closed the nursery door. The next morning, December 23rd, dawned cold and clear. Kelly and her parents loaded the girls into the minivan, a process that took nearly an hour with all the car seats and bags. Martha followed in her own car, ready to help with the airport transfer. The girls were in good spirits, babbling and pointing at the Christmas lights when they drove to the airport. Emma, ever the leader, tried to direct her sister's attention to a particularly bright display, while Ava made silly faces that had Sophia giggling. At the airport, Kelly's nerves returned full force. What if the girls melted down on the flight? What if Craig rejected them outright? What if Angela's cruelty extended to her daughters? She pushed the thoughts aside, focusing on the logistics of getting through security with 4 toddlers. Her parents and Martha were a well-oiled machine, each taking a girl and a bag, making the process smoother than Kelly had dared hope.
On the short flight to LaGuardia, Kelly sat with Olivia on her lap, the quietest of the 4. Olivia clutched her blanket, her serious eyes watching the clouds outside the window. "We're going on an adventure, Livy," Kelly whispered. "A big one." Olivia didn't respond, but her tiny hand squeezed Kelly's finger, and that small gesture was enough to steady her. They landed in New York without incident, and by early afternoon they were settled in a hotel near Greenwich. The girls napped while Kelly and her parents planned the next day's strategy. "We'll head to the Sweet Bean around 6, Kelly said, checking her phone for the coffee shop's hours. "I'll go to the party first, scope things out, then text when I'm ready for you to bring the girls." "Sounds like a plan," James said, though his tone betrayed his worry. "Just be careful, Kelly. That Angela woman doesn't strike me as the gracious type." "She's not," Kelly agreed, "but this isn't about her. It's about the girls." That evening, Kelly called Rachel to update her. "We're in New York. Tomorrow's the big day." "I still can't believe you're doing this," Rachel said, her voice a mix of awe and concern. "Walking into that lion's den with 4 babies? You're my hero." Kelly laughed softly. "I don't feel like a hero. I feel like I'm about to throw up." "You've got this," Rachel assured her. "Call me the second it's over. I need every detail." After hanging up, Kelly stood in front of the hotel mirror, trying on the royal blue dress. It fit perfectly, hugging her curves and highlighting her strength. She fastened the heart pendant around her neck, its weight both a reminder of the past and a talisman for the future. Tomorrow, Kelly would face Craig, Angela, and a room full of their judgmental friends. But she wouldn't be alone. Not really. Her daughters, her secret weapon, would be waiting just outside, ready to change everything. As she lay in bed that night, unable to sleep, Kelly thought about the moment she'd reveal the girls. Would Craig see their resemblance immediately? Would he feel the same overwhelming love she did? Or would he turn away as he had from her? The uncertainty gnawed at her, but she pushed it aside. This wasn't about Craig's reaction or Angela's rage. It was about Emma, Olivia, Ava, and Sophia. Their right to know their father, and his to know them. She closed her eyes, picturing their faces. Whatever happened tomorrow, she'd face it with the strength she'd built over the past 2 years. The strength of a mother who'd carried 4 babies to term, who'd built a life from the ashes of a broken marriage. Tomorrow, Kelly Thompson would walk into that party and rewrite the story they all thought they knew. If you were in Kelly's shoes, would you have kept the quadruplets a secret for as long as she did, or would you have told Craig sooner? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The morning of December 24th broke with a soft flurry of snowflakes, dusting the streets of Greenwich in a delicate white veil that seemed to mock the storm brewing in Kelly's heart. She stood in her hotel room, staring out the window at the quiet town she'd once called home. The girls were still asleep in their portable cribs, their soft breaths a steady rhythm in the otherwise silent room. Today was the day everything would change. For her daughters, for Craig, and for Angela's carefully constructed world. Kelly's stomach churned with nerves, but beneath it was a steely resolve. She wasn't just walking into a party tonight, she was walking into a reckoning. Patricia entered the room, carrying a tray of coffee and bagels from the hotel's breakfast bar. "You didn't sleep, did you?" she asked, setting the tray on the small table. "Not much," Kelly admitted, turning from the window. "Too much to think about." Her mother's eyes, warm but worried, studied her. "You can still change your mind, you know. We could spend Christmas here, just us and the girls. No drama, no confrontation." Kelly shook her head, her lips pressed into a thin line. "I've hidden them long enough. They deserve to know their father. And he deserves to know what he walked away from." James joined them, his hair still damp from a shower. "Your mother's just worried about the fallout. Angela is not going to take this lying down, and Craig, well, we don't know how he'll react." "I know," Kelly said, her voice steady despite the flutter in her chest. "But I'm not doing this for Angela or Craig. I'm doing it for Emma, Olivia, Ava, and Sophia." The girls began to stir, their babbling filling the room with life. Kelly crossed to the cribs, her heart swelling as she lifted Emma first, the little leader already pointing and shouting, "Mama!" Olivia rubbed her eyes, Ava giggled at nothing in particular, and Sophia reached out with a sleepy smile. Kelly kissed each one, their warmth grounding her. "Good morning, my loves," she said softly. "Today's a big day. You're going to meet your daddy." The words felt surreal even as she said them. The girls didn't understand, but their smiles bolstered her courage. She changed their diapers one by one, her hands moving with practiced ease, while Patricia and James prepared bottles and breakfast. Martha arrived at 9, her usual calm energy a balm to Kelly's frayed nerves. She carried a large bag, pulling out extra bows and tights. "Just in case," she said with a wink. "These girls have a knack for chaos." Kelly laughed, the sound easing the tension in the room. "You're not wrong. Let's get them ready for the practice run."
The next 2 hours were a whirlwind of toddler wrangling. Bathing 4 girls, styling their curls, and dressing them in their red velvet dresses was a logistical nightmare. Emma insisted on holding her bunny, smudging chocolate from a stolen cookie on her collar. Ava, true to form, pulled off both shoes within minutes. Olivia sat quietly, clutching her blanket, while Sophia fussed when a bow slipped from her hair. By the time they were dressed, the hotel room looked like a war zone, but the girls were a vision. 4 identical Christmas angels with white bows gleaming against their curls. "They're perfect," Patricia said, her voice thick with emotion. "Absolutely perfect." Kelly snapped a photo, her throat tightening. "They are, and tonight everyone will see them." Martha adjusted Ava's shoe. "Have you settled on what you'll say to Craig?" Kelly sighed, sitting on the edge of the bed. "I've tried. Craig, these are your daughters? Feels too abrupt. Remember the embryos you forgot about? Sounds too accusatory. I don't know how to say it without it sounding like an attack." "It'll come to you," Martha said, patting her hand. "Just be honest. That's all you can do." The rest of the morning was spent finalizing logistics. James checked the minivan, ensuring the quad stroller fit securely. Patricia packed gift bags with candy canes, each tagged with the girls' names, a thoughtful touch for the party guests. "These aren't for Craig or Angela. They're from the girls. It's their first Christmas party. They should be good guests." Kelly smiled, touched by her mother's care. "Thank you, Mom. That's perfect." By noon, they were ready to head for Greenwich. The girls were strapped into their car seats, babbling happily as they pointed at the snow outside. Kelly drove separately, her blue dress and heart pendant carefully packed in a garment bag. The 2-hour drive gave her too much time to think. What would Craig's face look like when he saw the girls? Would he deny them, embrace them? Would Angela's rage spill over onto her daughters? Each question tightened the knot in her stomach, but she kept driving, fueled by the image of her girls' faces. They arrived in Greenwich at 2, settling into the Sweet Bean coffee shop 2 blocks from Craig's mansion. The cozy space smelled of cinnamon and espresso, and the staff cooed over the girls as Martha and Patricia set up the stroller in a corner. "We'll wait here until you text," Martha said, sipping a latte. "The girls will be fine. They're charming the baristas already." Kelly nodded, her throat tight. "I'll let you know when I'm ready, probably around 8.
Her father clapped a hand on her shoulder. "You've got this, kiddo. Just be you." Kelly drove the short distance to the mansion, parking a block away. The house loomed ahead, a 3-story monument of stone and glass, aglow with thousands of white Christmas lights. Even from the outside, it screamed wealth and perfection, Angela's domain. Kelly sat in her car for an hour watching guests arrive in sleek cars, their designer dresses and tailored suits a stark contrast to her modest life. She recognized faces from her past, Craig's colleagues, old neighbors, former friends who drifted away after the divorce. At 6:30, she saw Dr. Samantha Wells arrive, followed by Craig's business partner Robert and his wife Claire. Her phone buzzed with a text from Martha. "Girls are ready, all happy and fed. Just say when." Kelly replied, "Wait for my text, around 8." She took a deep breath, stepping out into the cold. The snow had stopped, but the air bit at her exposed skin. She pulled her coat tighter and walked toward the mansion, each step heavier than the last. The butler opened the door before she could ring the bell. "Good evening, madam. Name, please?" "Kelly Thompson," she said, her voice steadier than she felt. He checked his list. "Yes, Ms. Thompson. Welcome to the Wilson residence." She stepped into the grand foyer, handing her coat to an attendant. The massive Christmas tree dominated the space, its gold and crystal ornaments glittering under the chandelier's light. Conversations paused as eyes turned to her. She felt the weight of their stares, curiosity, pity, judgment. She straightened her spine, the royal blue dress hugging her curves, the heart pendant a quiet reminder of her strength. Across the room she saw Craig. He was talking to Robert, a glass of scotch in hand, his familiar features unchanged despite the years. Next to him stood Angela, her red dress clinging to her like a second skin, her blonde hair perfect. Her smile froze when she spotted Kelly, and she leaned to whisper in Craig's ear. His head turned, his eyes meeting Kelly's across the crowded room. For a moment, time stilled. Then Angela's fake smile returned, and she glided toward Kelly, leaving Craig with a strange look on his face. "Kelly!" Angela's voice carried over the chatter. "You came! How brave of you!" She air-kissed Kelly's cheeks, her perfume overwhelming. You look rested," Angela said, her eyes raking over the blue dress. "I miss those days when I could sleep all night without responsibilities." "Thank you for inviting me," Kelly replied, her tone calm. "Your home is beautiful." "Yes, it is," Angela's smile sharpened. "Craig wanted something special for our family." She waved him over. "Mark, darling, come say hello." Craig approached slowly, his discomfort evident. "Hello, Kelly," he said stiffly. "Craig," she nodded. "It's been a long time." An awkward silence followed until Angela linked her arm through Craig's. "Darling, we should check on the caterers. Kelly, enjoy yourself. There's plenty of food, even for those eating alone." With another saccharine smile, she pulled Craig away. Kelly stood alone, feeling the whispers around her. She recognized most of the faces: country club acquaintances, Craig's colleagues, old neighbors. Many avoided her gaze. She made her way to the bar, asking for water, and turned to find Kimberly, a former friend, standing there. "Kelly, I didn't expect to see you here," Kimberly said, her voice high with surprise. "I was invited," Kelly replied simply. "Of course. It's just... How have you been? Still teaching?" "I am." "That's nice. And you moved after the divorce?" "Yes." "Somewhere special?" Kimberly shifted, clearly fishing for gossip. "Are you seeing anyone? It's been 2 years." "I've moved on," Kelly said, her smile enigmatic. "Just not how you might expect." Before Kimberly could press further, Robert approached, his kind eyes a welcome relief. "Kelly, it's good to see you. You look well." "Thank you, Robert. How about you?" "Busy. The firm's growing. Claire's around here somewhere. She'll be happy to see you." Kimberly excused herself, and Robert lowered his voice. "I'm sorry about this. I don't know why they invited you, but I can guess." "It's fine. I'm stronger than I look." "You always were," he smiled. Across the room, Angela was showing off Jackson, the nanny presenting him in a tiny tuxedo. "Everyone," Angela called. "Jackson wanted to say hello." She posed with him, Craig beside her, the perfect family image. Callie sipped her water, checking her phone. 7:30. 30 minutes until her signal to Martha. "He's quite cute," Dr. Wells said, appearing beside her. "Yes," Callie agreed. "How are you?" Dr. Wells. "Really? I'm good." "You seem happier." Kelly smiled. "Life has a way of working out." Angela's voice carried again. "Being a mother completes you in a way nothing else can." Her eyes found Kelly's. "Some women just aren't meant to be mothers, though. And that's sad." Craig shifted uncomfortably, saying nothing. Kelly's phone buzzed. Martha. "Girls ready. Sophia was fussy, but she's happy now." Kelly typed back, "Soon. Stay ready." The Wilson mansion pulsed with holiday cheer, the clink of glasses and hum of laughter filling the air like a carefully orchestrated symphony. But for Kelly, standing alone near the towering Christmas tree, the room felt like a battlefield. Angela's barbed comment, "Some women just aren't meant to be mothers," hung in the air, her words slicing through the festive facade. Her fingers tightened around her water glass, her heart pounding, but she kept her face composed, her eyes steady. Across the room, Angela was posing with Jackson, her perfect son, while Craig stood stiffly beside her, his gaze flickering toward Kelly with something unreadable. Guilt, perhaps? Or unease? It was 7:45 p.m., and the moment Kelly had been planning for was fast approaching. Her phone burned in her clutch, the signal to Martha just minutes away. She took a slow breath. The royal blue dress and heart pendant anchored her. The weight of her secret, the 4 identical daughters waiting just 2 blocks away, gave her strength. She wasn't here to play Angela's game or to win back Craig's approval. She was here for Emma, Olivia, Ava, and Sophia, to give them the truth about their father, whatever that truth might be. Dr. Samantha Wells, standing nearby, leaned in, her voice low. "You're handling this remarkably well, Kelly. I wouldn't have the restraint." Kelly managed a small smile. "It's not about restraint. It's about purpose." Dr. Wells raised her eyebrow, clearly curious, but didn't press. Instead, she glanced toward Angela, who was now laughing loudly at something a guest said, Jackson still propped in her arms like a trophy. "She's laying it on thick tonight," Dr. Wells murmured. "Be careful." "I will," Kelly said. Her eyes drifted to the clock on the mantel. 7:50. She excused herself and slipped toward a quieter corner of the room, near a set of French doors that opened onto a snowy patio. The cold air seeping through the glass was a welcome contrast to the overheated tension inside. She pulled out her phone and texted Martha, "Bring the girls. I'm ready." Martha replied instantly, "On our way. 5 minutes." Her heart raced. 5 minutes until her world and Craig's changed forever. She scanned the room, taking in the faces, some familiar, some not. Robert and Claire were near the buffet, chatting with a couple Kelly didn't recognize. Kimberly hovered near Angela, whispering something that made Angela's eyes dart toward Kelly again. Craig, meanwhile, had extricated himself from Angela's side and was talking to an older man in a suit, his expression distracted. Kelly wondered if he sensed something coming, some shift in the air he couldn't name. She stepped back into the fray, moving toward the center of the room, her heels clicking softly on the polished hardwood. The band was playing a soft rendition of Silent Night, and the chatter had softened as guests sipped champagne and nibbled on hors d'oeuvres. Kelly caught Robert's eye, and he gave her a warm nod, a small anchor in the sea of judgment. She returned it, then positioned herself near the grand staircase where she'd have a clear view of the foyer when Martha arrived with the girls. At 7:55, the butler opened the front door and Kelly's breath caught. Martha stepped inside, pushing the quad stroller adorned with Christmas ribbons, her parents flanking her. Emma, Olivia, Ava, and Sophia sat upright in their red velvet dresses, their curls bouncing, white bows gleaming under the chandelier's light. The sight of them, her daughters, so small yet so undeniably present, filled her with a fierce pride. The room didn't notice at first, the guests too absorbed in their conversations, but the butler's hesitant pause drew a few curious glances. She stepped forward, her voice clear and steady. "Excuse me, everyone."
Heads turned, conversations faltering. Angela, still holding Jackson, frowned, her eyes narrowing as she followed Kelly's gaze to the foyer. Craig looked up from his conversation, his glass halfway to his lips. The band's music softened, sensing the shift in the room's energy. "I'd like to introduce some very special guests," Kelly continued, her heart hammering but her voice unwavering. She gestured toward the stroller as Martha pushed it forward, the girls' wide eyes taking in the glittering room. "These are my daughters, Emma, Olivia, Ava, and Sophia." A murmur rippled through the crowd, a mix of surprise and confusion. Kelly felt every eye on her, but she kept her focus on the girls, who were starting to fidget under the attention. Emma waved her bunny, Ava giggled, and Sophia clutched Olivia's hand. They were perfect, and they were hers. Angela's face drained of color, her arms tightening around Jackson. "Your daughters," she said, her voice sharp. "Since when do you have children, Kelly?" Kelly met her gaze, unflinching. "Since 14 months ago. They're quadruplets, born from the embryos Craig and I created during our marriage." The room went silent, the weight of her words settling like a stone. Craig's glass slipped from his hand, shattering on the floor, the sound echoing in the stunned quiet. His face was a mask of shock, his eyes darting from Kelly to the girls, then back again. "What?" he whispered, his voice barely audible. "Craig," Kelly said, her tone calm but firm, "these are your daughters too. Emma, Olivia, Ava, and Sophia. I used the embryos after our divorce, per the agreement you signed. I've raised them alone, but I thought it was time you knew." The murmurs grew louder, guests whispering to each other, some craning to get a better look at the girls. The resemblance was undeniable. Craig's hazel eyes, his dimples, his chin mirrored in each tiny face. Angela's mouth opened, then closed, her composure cracking. "This is absurd," she snapped, handing Jackson to the nanny. "You can't just waltz in here with 4 children and claim they're his." "They are his," Kelly said, pulling the divorce agreement from her clutch. She held it up, the paper trembling slightly in her hand. "You signed away your rights to the embryos. You didn't want them, but I did. And here they are." Craig stepped forward, his face pale, his eyes locked on the girls. Emma, sensing the tension, let out a small whimper, and Martha quickly soothed her with a gentle pat. "Craig," Kelly said, his voice hoarse, "they're beautiful." Angela spun on him, her voice rising. "You're not seriously buying this, are you? She's manipulating you. She's always been jealous of us, of Jackson." "Enough, Angela," Craig said, his tone sharp for the first time. He looked back at the girls, then at Kelly. "Why now? Why here?" "Because you invited me, and because I'm done hiding. They're your daughters, Craig. I don't expect anything from you, but they deserved this moment." The room was a cacophony of whispers now, guests openly gossiping. Robert approached, his face stunned but supportive. "Kelly, this is incredible. You've been raising them alone?" "With help," Kelly said, nodding toward Martha and her parents, who stood proudly by the stroller. "My family, my friends, they've been my rock." Angela's eyes flashed with rage. "This is a disgrace," she spat, storming toward the stroller. Martha stepped in front of it, protective, and Patricia raised her hand, her expression calm but firm. "Don't," Patricia said. "These are my granddaughters. You don't get to touch them." Angela froze, her face twisting. She turned to the guests, raising her voice. "Everyone, please, this is a misunderstanding. Let's continue the party." "No," Craig interrupted, his voice cutting through hers. He knelt in front of the stroller, studying each girl. Emma reached out, touching his face, and he smiled, tears spilling over. "They look like me," he whispered. "They do," Kelly said softly. "They're yours." Angela grabbed his arm, pulling him up. "We need to talk, now." She dragged him toward a side room, her heels clicking furiously. The guests watched, some whispering, others openly staring at Kelly and the girls. Dr. Wells touched Kelly's arm. "You did the right thing. This was never going to be easy."
Kelly nodded, her eyes on the girls. Ava was giggling, oblivious to the drama, while Sophia clung to Olivia's hand. Emma was still watching the spot where Craig had disappeared, her little face curious. "I just want them to be okay," Kelly said, her voice barely above a whisper. "They will be," Martha said, adjusting a bow on Sophia's head. "You're their mother. They're stronger than you know." The party continued, but the energy had shifted. Guests approached Kelly, some offering congratulations, others awkward condolences. Robert and Claire stayed close, their presence a quiet support. Kelly kept her focus on the girls, who were now being fawned over by a few curious guests. Patricia handed out the candy cane gift bags, each tagged with a girl's name, and the gesture softened the room's tension. At 8:30, Craig emerged from the side room, Angela trailing behind, her face tight with anger. He approached Kelly, his expression unreadable. "Can we talk alone?" Kelly hesitated, then nodded. "Martha, Mom, Dad, can you watch the girls?" "Of course," Patricia said, her eyes wary but trusting. Kelly followed Craig to a quiet study, the door closing behind them. The room smelled of leather and old books, a stark contrast to the glittering chaos outside. Craig ran a hand through his hair, his face a mix of exhaustion and awe. "Kelly, I don't know what to say. I had no idea." "I know," she said. "I didn't tell you because I wasn't sure you'd care." He flinched, the words hitting hard. "I cared. I couldn't handle the waiting, the treatments. I was weak. I'm sorry." Kelly's throat tightened, but she held his gaze. "This isn't about apologies, Craig. It's about them. They're here now, and they're real. What happens next is up to you." He nodded, his eyes distant. Can I meet them properly?" "Yes," she said, "but not tonight. This is enough for now. They need to get to bed, and I need to process this." He nodded again, his shoulders slumping. "I don't know what this means. For us, for me, for Angela, for Jackson. But I want to know them, Kelly. I do." She studied him, searching for sincerity. She saw it, but she also saw the man who'd walked away. "We'll figure it out," she said, "one step at a time." They returned to the party, where Angela was now holding court near the bar, her laughter forced. The girls were yawning, and Martha gave Kelly a knowing look. "Time to go?" "Yeah," Kelly said, her voice soft but firm. She addressed the room one last time. "Thank you for having us. My daughters and I wish you all a Merry Christmas." With that, she helped Martha and her parents guide the stroller out, the girls waving sleepily. The guests parted, some clapping softly, others still whispering. As they stepped into the snowy night, Kelly felt a weight lift. The truth was out, and whatever came next, she'd face it with her daughters by her side. How do you think Craig will navigate his new reality as a father of 4 unexpected daughters? Share your thoughts in the comments. The snow crunched under Kelly's boots as she, Martha, and her parents guided the quad stroller through the quiet Greenwich streets, the Wilson mansion's lights fading behind them. The night air was sharp, biting at her exposed skin, but Kelly felt a strange warmth spreading through her chest. The weight of the secret she had carried for 14 months was gone, replaced by a mix of relief and uncertainty.
Emma, Olivia, Ava, and Sophia were bundled in their coats, their sleepy faces barely visible under the Christmas ribbons adorning the stroller. They were oblivious to the seismic shift that had just occurred, but Kelly felt it in every fiber of her being. She'd done it. She'd faced Craig, Angela, and their world, and she'd walked away with her head high, her daughters by her side. The snow will help them know to Osane interrobable too. Martha broke the silence as they reached the Sweet Bean where they'd parked the minivan. "You were incredible in there, Kelly. I don't know how you stayed so calm." Kelly gave a small, shaky laugh, adjusting Sophia's blanket. "I didn't feel calm. I thought my heart was going to burst." "You didn't show it," Patricia said, her voice thick with pride. She squeezed Kelly's shoulder. "Those girls are lucky to have you." James opened the minivan's door, his expression softer than usual. "And Craig is a fool if he doesn't see what he's been missing." Kelly didn't respond, her mind replaying Craig's tear-filled eyes as he looked at the girls. His whispered, "They're beautiful." She'd seen something real in him tonight. Shock, yes, but also a flicker of longing. But she'd also seen Angela's fury, the way her perfect world had cracked under the weight of the truth. What came next was anyone's guess, and Kelly wasn't sure she was ready to face it. They loaded the girls into their car seats, each one yawning or already dozing. Emma clutched her bunny, Olivia her blanket, Eva was out cold with a tiny smile, and Sophia's eyes fluttered shut as Martha buckled her in. The drive back to the hotel was quiet, the only sound the soft hum of the engine and the occasional babble from the girls. Kelly stared out the window, the snow-dusted streets of Greenwich blurring past. This town, once her home, felt foreign now. Her life was in Boston, with her daughters, her parents, and the small, steady world she'd built. But Craig's words, "I want to know them," echoed in her mind, stirring a mix of hope and dread. At the hotel, they settled the girls into their cribs, each one yawning or already dozing. Emma clutched her bunny, Olivia her blanket, Ava was out cold with a tiny smile, and Sophia's eyes fluttered shut as Martha buckled her in. The night air was sharp, biting at her exposed skin, but Kelly felt a strange warmth spreading through her chest. The weight of the secret she had carried for 14 months was gone, replaced by a mix of relief and uncertainty. Martha broke the silence as they reached the Sweet Bean, where they'd parked the minivan. "You were incredible in there, Kelly. I don't know how you stayed so calm." Kelly gave a small, shaky laugh, adjusting Sophia's blanket. "I didn't feel calm. I thought my heart was going to burst." "You didn't show it," Patricia said, her voice thick with pride. She squeezed Kelly's shoulder. "Those girls are lucky to have you." James opened the minivan's door, his expression softer than usual. "And Craig is a fool if he doesn't see what he's been missing." Kelly didn't respond, her mind replaying Craig's tear-filled eyes as he looked at the girls. His whispered, "They're beautiful." She'd seen something real in him tonight. Shock, yes, but also a flicker of longing. But she'd also seen Angela's fury, the way her perfect world had cracked under the weight of the truth. What came next was anyone's guess, and Kelly wasn't sure she was ready to face it. They loaded the girls into their car seats, each one yawning or already dozing. Emma clutched her bunny, Olivia her blanket, Ava was out cold with a tiny smile, and Sophia's eyes fluttered shut as Martha buckled her in. The night air was sharp, biting at her exposed skin, but Kelly felt a strange warmth spreading through her chest. The weight of the secret she had carried for 14 months was gone, replaced by a mix of relief and uncertainty. Emma, Olivia, Ava, and Sophia were bundled in their coats, their sleepy faces barely visible under the Christmas ribbons adorning the stroller. They were oblivious to the seismic shift that had just occurred, but Kelly felt it in every fiber of her being. She'd done it. She'd faced Craig, Angela, and their world, and she'd walked away with her head high, her daughters by her side. The snow crunched under Kelly's boots as she, Martha, and her parents guided the quad stroller through the quiet Greenwich streets, the Wilson Mansion's lights fading behind them. The night air was sharp, biting at her exposed skin, but Kelly felt a strange warmth spreading through her chest. The weight of the secret she had carried for 14 months was gone, replaced by a mix of relief and uncertainty.
Kelly shrugged, wrapping her hands around her mug. I don't know. He seemed genuine, but he left me before. He gave up on us. I can't trust him until he proves he's serious. James leaned back, his arms crossed. He's got a lot to answer for, and that wife of his isn't going to make it easy. Angela's not my concern, Kelly said, though her stomach twisted at the thought of Angela's rage. My focus is the girls. If Craig wants to be part of their lives, he'll have to earn it. Patricia reached across the table, covering Kelly's hand with her own. You've given him a chance to do that. That's more than he deserves. Kelly nodded, but her mother's words didn't erase the unease. She'd opened a door tonight, and there was no closing it. Craig knowing about the girls meant legal questions, custody discussions, and the possibility of Angela's interference. She pushed the thoughts aside, focusing on the present. Let's get some sleep. Tomorrow's Christmas, and I want it to be special for the girls. The next morning, Christmas Day, dawned bright and cold. The girls woke early, their excited squeals filling the hotel room as they discovered the small pile of gifts Kelly had tucked under a miniature tree. Emma tore into her wrapping paper with glee, revealing a plush reindeer. Olivia carefully peeled hers open, finding a soft book with textured pages. Ava giggled at her Jingle Bell rattle, and Sophia hugged a stuffed snowman, her eyes wide with delight. Kelly, her parents, and Martha sat on the floor, snapping photos and laughing as the girls played. This is what it's all about, Kelly said, her voice soft as she watched Ava shake her rattle with gusto. Them, their happiness. Patricia smiled, handing her a cup of coffee. You're doing right by them, Kelly. Never doubt that. The morning passed in the blur of play and breakfast, the girls' energy infectious. But as noon approached, Kelly's phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Her heart sank as she opened it. Kelly, it's Craig. Can we talk today? I need to see you and the girls, please. She stared at the screen, her pulse quickening. Part of her wanted to ignore it, to keep her daughters in their safe bubble, but another part, the part that remembered Craig's tears last night, knew she couldn't. She showed the text to her parents and Martha, who exchanged wary glances. What do you want to do? Martha asked. She hesitated, then typed a reply. Not today. It's Christmas and I'm with my family. We can talk tomorrow. Name a time and place. His response came quickly. Thank you. Tomorrow, 10 a.m., the Sweet Bean. Just you and me first, then the girls, if that's okay. She agreed, her fingers trembling slightly as she sent the message. Tomorrow would be another step into the unknown, but for now she focused on the girls, joining them on the floor to build a tower of blocks that Ava promptly knocked over, laughing. That afternoon they took the girls to a nearby park, bundled in their coats and hats. The snow was fresh, and Emma led her sisters in a wobbly march through it, her bunny tucked under one arm. Kelly pushed the stroller, her parents and Martha trailing behind, their laughter mingling with the girls' squeals. This was a perfect moment. Kelly wished she could freeze forever. But her phone buzzed again, this time with a text from Rachel. Heard about last night from a friend who was there. You're a legend. Call me when you can. Kelly smiled, promising herself to call later. Rachel's support was a lifeline, a reminder of the life she'd built beyond Greenwich. She tucked the phone away, helping Sophia toss a tiny snowball. That evening, after the girls were asleep, Kelly sat with her laptop, drafting an email to her lawyer. She outlined the events of the party, Craig's reaction, and his request to meet. I need advice on next steps. I want to protect my daughter's rights while allowing Craig access if he proves himself. Please advise on custody and legal considerations. She hit send, feeling a mix of relief and anxiety. The legal road ahead would be complex, but she'd face it head on. The next morning, December 26th, Kelly dressed carefully, choosing a simple sweater and jeans, the heart pendant still around her neck.
She left the girls with her parents and Martha, who planned to take them to a children's museum nearby. The Sweet Bean was quiet when she arrived, the post-Christmas lull leaving only a few patrons scattered at tables. Craig was already there, seated in a corner booth, a coffee untouched in front of him. He looked haggard, his eyes red-rimmed, his usual polish replaced by something raw. "Kelly," he said, standing as she approached, "thank you for coming." She sat across from him, her hands folded tightly. "What do you want, Craig?" He exhaled, running a hand through his hair. "I haven't slept since the party. I keep seeing their faces, those girls. They're mine, aren't they?" "They're your daughters," Kelly said, her voice steady. "Biologically, yes, but I've been their mother. They're everything, for 14 months. "I know," he said, his voice breaking, "and I'm sorry. I was a coward back then, walking away when things got hard. I didn't know. I didn't think the embryos would—" "You didn't think," Kelly cut in, her tone sharp but controlled. "You signed away your rights without a second thought."
Kelly studied him, searching for the man who'd left her. She saw regret, but she also saw the weight of his new life. Angela, Jackson, the mansion. "What about Angela?" she asked. She didn't exactly welcome the news. Craig's jaw tightened. "She's struggling. She feels threatened. But this isn't about her. It's about the girls." "And Jackson," Kelly added. "He's their brother. This affects him too." "I know," Craig said. "I don't have all the answers yet, but I'm asking for a chance to figure it out. To be their father, even if it's just a little at first." Kelly leaned back, her mind racing. She wanted to protect her daughters, to shield them from rejection or conflict, but she also remembered her own father's words. They deserved to know their father. If Craig was sincere, could she deny them that? "We'll start slow," she said finally. "Supervised visits, on my terms. You'll need to prove you're in this for them, not just for your guilt." He nodded, relief washing over his face. "Thank you, Kelly. I mean it." "Don't thank me yet," she said, standing. "You can meet them this afternoon, at the park near the hotel, 2 p.m. My parents and Martha will be there. And Craig, if you hurt them, you'll answer to me." "I won't," he promised, his eyes meeting hers. "I swear." Kelly left the coffee shop, her heart lighter, but still wary. She called Rachel on the drive back, recounting the conversation. "He seems genuine, but I'm not letting my guard down." "You're doing the right thing," Rachel said. "Let him prove himself. And if he doesn't, you've got those girls' backs." At the park that afternoon, Craig arrived on time, looking nervous but eager. The girls were in their stroller, bundled against the cold, their eyes curious as he approached. Kelly introduced them one by one, watching his face soften as Emma reached for him, Ava giggled, and Sophia shyly hid behind Olivia's blanket. "They're incredible," he whispered, kneeling to their level. "They are," Kelly said, her voice firm but warm. "And they're mine. But if you're serious, they can be yours too." As Craig played with the girls under her watchful eye, Kelly felt a cautious hope. The road ahead would be messy. Legal battles, Angela's wrath, the challenge of blending two families. But for now, watching Emma tug at Craig's scarf, she let herself believe that maybe, just maybe, her daughters could have the father they deserved. Do you think Kelly is right to give Craig a chance to be part of the girls' lives? Or should she protect them from potential disappointment? Share your thoughts in the comments. The Greenwich Park was a quiet oasis under a pale winter sky. The snow from Christmas Eve now packed into small drifts by the playground's edge. Kelly stood near the quad stroller, her breath visible in the crisp air, watching as Craig knelt in front of her daughters. Emma, ever bold, tugged at his scarf with a mischievous grin, while Ava giggled, her tiny hands clapping at the sight of a squirrel darting across the snow. Olivia watched Craig cautiously, her blanket clutched tight, and Sophia peeked out from behind her sister's blanket, her hazel eyes, Craig's eyes,
wide with curiosity. Kelly's heart was a tangle of hope and caution, her hands gripping the stroller's handle as she monitored every move. This was the first step in a fragile new reality, and she wasn't ready to trust Craig yet, not after everything. Martha and Patricia stood a few feet away, their eyes darting between the girls and Craig, ready to intervene if needed. James lingered near the bench, his arms crossed, his expression a mix of skepticism and reluctant acceptance. The meeting at the Sweet Bean that morning had been promising. Craig's regret had seemed genuine, his desire to know the girls palpable. But Kelly knew promises were cheap. She'd built a life for her daughters without him, and any role he played now would be earned, not given. He looked up at her, his face soft with wonder. "They're so alive," he said, almost to himself. "Each one's different, aren't they?" "They are," Kelly replied, her voice steady but guarded. "Emma's the leader, always charging ahead. Ava's our comedian, always laughing. Olivia's the thinker, watching everything. And Sophia is the peacemaker, keeping them all together." He nodded, his eyes returning to the girls. "I see it. Emma's got that spark, like she's ready to take on the world." "She gets that from me," Kelly said, a small smile breaking through her reserve. "But those eyes, that chin, they're all you." Craig's smile faltered, a shadow of guilt crossing his face. He reached out tentatively, offering Emma his scarf, which she grabbed with glee. "I don't know how to do this, Kelly," he admitted, his voice low. "I don't know how to be a father to 4 girls I didn't even know existed 2 days ago." "You don't have to know yet," she said. "You just have to show up. Consistently, honestly. They're too young to understand now, but they'll need you to mean it." He nodded, swallowing hard. "I want to. I do." Before Kelly could respond, her phone buzzed in her coat pocket. She glanced at the screen. A text from an unknown number. "We need to talk. This isn't over. Angela." Her stomach tightened, but she slipped the phone back into her pocket without replying. Angela's anger was expected, but it wasn't her priority. The girls were. "Look, squirrel!" Ava squealed, pointing as the animal scampered up a tree. Craig chuckled, mimicking her excitement, and for a moment she saw a glimpse of the man she'd once loved, the one who'd made her laugh, who dreamed of a family with her. But that man had walked away, and she wouldn't let nostalgia cloud her judgment.
"Let's take them to the swings," Kelly suggested, pushing the stroller toward the playground. Craig followed, his steps hesitant but eager. Martha and Patricia helped lift the girls into the toddler swings, while James watched from the bench, his eyes never leaving Craig. Kelly pushed Emma's swing gently, her daughter's laughter filling the air, and Craig took Ava's, copying Kelly's careful rhythm. "They love this," he said, his voice warm with awe. "Do they do this a lot?" "Every chance we get," Kelly said. "Boston has great parks. They've got a whole crew of park buddies back home." Craig's expression flickered, a mix of curiosity and regret. "Boston, you've built a whole life there, haven't you?" "I had to," she said, her tone matter-of-fact. "After the divorce, I needed a fresh start. My parents moved to help, and Martha's been a godsend. We've made it work." He nodded, his eyes on Ava, as she kicked her legs in the swing. "I should have been there. I know that now." Kelly didn't respond, letting his words hang in the air. Apologies couldn't erase the past, and she wasn't ready to absolve him. Instead, she focused on the girls, their joy grounding her. Olivia, still cautious, reached for Kelly's hand from her swing, and Kelly squeezed it gently. "You're okay, Livy," she murmured. After 20 minutes, the girls started to tire, their yawns signaling nap time. Kelly glanced at Martha, who nodded. "We should get them back to the hotel," Kelly said to Craig. "This was a good start, but they need rest." "Can I see them again?" he asked, his voice urgent. "Tomorrow, maybe?" Kelly hesitated, studying his face. "Let's take it one day at a time. I'll text you tonight and we'll set something up. But, Craig, this is on my terms, for their sake, "I understand," he said, his eyes sincere. "Whatever you need." As they packed up, Craig knelt to say goodbye to the girls, his hand lingering on Emma's curls. "See you soon, little ones," he whispered. Emma babbled something incomprehensible, and he smiled, his eyes glistening. Kelly drove back to the hotel, her parents and Martha following in the minivan. The girls dozed in their car seats, and Kelly's mind churned. Angela's text gnawed at her, a reminder that this wasn't just about Craig and the girls. Angela's world had been upended, and her anger was a wild card. Kelly needed to be ready for whatever came next. At the hotel, they settled the girls for their nap, and Kelly checked her email. Her lawyer had responded, outlining steps to formalize any co-parenting arrangement, mediation, custody agreements, and a clear parenting plan. "Given Craig's lack of prior involvement," the email read, "you hold significant leverage, but his acknowledgement of paternity could complicate things. Proceed cautiously." Kelly forwarded the email to herself for later, her focus returning to the girls. That evening, after dinner, Kelly sat with her parents and Martha, debriefing the day. "He was good with them," Martha said, sipping tea. "Nervous, but gentle." "He's got a lot to prove," James said, his tone gruff. "Words are easy. Let's see if he follows through." Patricia reached for Kelly's hand. "What do you want, sweetheart? Really?" I sighed, staring at the girls' empty high chairs. "I want them to have a father who loves them, who shows up. But I won't let him or Angela disrupt their lives. If he's serious, I'll work with him. If not, I'm enough for them." "You are," Martha said firmly, "but it's okay to hope he steps up." I nodded, my throat tight. I texted Craig, "Tomorrow, 1 p.m., same park. Bring something for the girls, books or toys, nothing big. We'll talk more." His reply came quickly. "I'll be there. Thank you, Kelly." The next day, Craig arrived at the park with a small bag of board books, each wrapped in bright paper. The girls tore into them with glee, Emma immediately flipping through a book about animals, while Ava chewed on a corner, laughing. Craig sat on the grass, reading to them, his voice soft but steady. Kelly watched from a distance, her heart softening slightly, but her guard still up. Her phone buzzed, another text from Angela. "You think you can just walk into our lives and ruin everything? Meet me tomorrow, 10 a.m., the Sweet Bean. No Craig, no kids. Just us." Kelly's jaw clenched, but she typed back, "Fine, I'll be there." The meeting with Craig went smoothly, the girls warming to him as he read and played. He asked about their routines, their favorite foods, their quirks, and Kelly answered carefully, sharing just enough. As they parted, he hugged her awkwardly, his voice low. "I'm going to do this right, Kelly. I promise." "We'll see," she said, her tone neutral, but not unkind.
Angela's face twisted, but before she could respond, Kelly stood. "I'm done here. If you want to talk about the girls, I'm open, but I'm not your punching bag." She walked out, her heart pounding, but her head high. Angela's anger was a storm, but Kelly had weathered worse. Back at the hotel, she called her lawyer, updating her on Angela's confrontation and Craig's involvement. "I want to protect the girls," she said. "Set up mediation, but make it clear, my terms." That afternoon, as she played with the girls, Kelly felt a quiet strength. Craig's commitment was uncertain, Angela's rage a looming threat, but her daughters were her anchor. Emma's laughter, Olivia's quiet focus, Ava's silly antics, Sophia's gentle touch, they were her world, and no one could take that away. How do you think Angela's confrontation with Kelly will affect Craig's relationship with the girls? Share your thoughts in the comments. The Greenwich hotel room was bathed in the soft glow of morning light filtering through the curtains, the faint hum of the heater blending with the girls' gentle snores. Kelly sat on the edge of the bed, her phone in hand, staring at the email from her lawyer that had arrived overnight. "Mediation can be arranged as early as next week," it read. "Given Craig's acknowledgement of paternity, we'll need to establish a clear parenting plan. Recommend supervised visits initially with a gradual transition if he proves consistent. Be prepared for Angela to contest any arrangement."
Kelly's stomach churned at the mention of Angela. Yesterday's confrontation at the Sweet Beans still fresh in her mind. Angela's venomous words, "You think you can destroy my family," echoed, but Kelly pushed them aside. Today was about her daughters, not Angela's rage. Emma stirred in her crib, her bunny clutched tight, and Kelly crossed to her, brushing a curl from her forehead. The girls, Emma, Olivia, Ava, and Sophia, were her anchor, their presence grounding her through the uncertainty. Today, Craig would join them for another visit at the park, and Kelly felt a mix of cautious hope and lingering doubt. His tenderness with the girls yesterday was genuine, but trust was a fragile thing, and she wasn't ready to lower her guard. Patricia entered with a tray of coffee and muffins, her eyes scanning Kelly's face. "You look like you didn't sleep again," she said, setting the tray down. "I got a few hours," Kelly replied, managing a tired smile, "just thinking about today and tomorrow and everything." James followed, carrying a stack of clean diapers. "Craig's coming again, right? Same time?" 1:00, Kelly confirmed. "He's bringing more books. I told him to keep it simple." Martha arrived shortly after, her cheerful energy cutting through the morning's heaviness. "Ready for another round with the girls?" she asked, pulling out a bag of extra bows, just in case Ava decides to redecorate herself again. Kelly laughed, the sound easing her tension. "Always prepared, Martha. Thank you." They spent the morning getting the girls ready, a now familiar routine of baths, diapers, and wrangling them into warm clothes. Emma insisted on her reindeer hat, Ava smeared yogurt on her sweater, Olivia clutched her blanket, and Sophia fussed until her favorite snowman toy was in her arms. By noon, they were bundled into the quad stroller, the Christmas ribbon still tied to it, and headed to the park. The snow had melted slightly, leaving patches of grass visible, and the air was crisp but not biting. Kelly pushed the stroller, her parents and Martha chatting behind her, their presence a steady comfort. At the park, Craig was already waiting by the swings, a small bag in hand. He looked less haggard than yesterday, his eyes brighter, though a nervous edge lingered in his posture. "Hey," he said, offering a tentative smile as Kelly approached. "I brought the books you suggested, simple ones with animals." "Good choice," Kelly said, her tone neutral but not cold. She unbuckled the girls, letting them toddle toward the grass with Martha's help. "They love animals," Kelly said, her voice softening slightly. "Emma's obsessed with giraffes right now." Craig chuckled, kneeling to Emma's level as she wobbled toward him. "Giraffes, huh? We'll have to find a good giraffe book next time." Emma babbled something that sounded vaguely like giraffe, and Craig's face lit up. He opened the bag, pulling out a board book with a colorful zoo on the cover. Ava immediately grabbed it, giggling as she flipped it upside down, while Olivia peered over her shoulder, curious but reserved. Sophia clung to Kelly's leg, watching Craig with cautious interest. "They're warming up to you," Kelly said, her voice softening slightly. "But it'll take time." "I know," Craig said, his eyes on Sophia as she inched closer. "I'm here for it, Kelly, as long as it takes." They spent an hour at the park, Craig reading to the girls and helping them on the slides. He was careful, attentive, mimicking Kelly's gentle corrections when Ava tried to eat a leaf or Emma wandered too far. Patricia and James watched from a bench, their expressions softening as the visit went on, though James's arms remained crossed, his skepticism clear. As the girls tired, Kelly signaled to Martha, "Time to head back. They'll need naps soon." Craig nodded, helping buckle Sophia into the stroller. "Can I see them tomorrow?" he asked, his voice hopeful but cautious. "Let's talk tonight. I need to think about what's next. We're heading back to Boston soon, and I need to figure out how this works long distance." His face fell slightly, but he nodded. "Fair enough. Just let me know what you need. I want to make this right." Kelly didn't respond, focusing on securing Ava's straps. As they parted, Craig waved at the girls, who babbled back, oblivious to the weight of the moment. Kelly drove back to the hotel, her mind racing. Craig's commitment seemed real, but Angela's text loomed like a storm cloud. She needed to prepare for whatever Angela might do next.
Back at the hotel, the girls napped, and Kelly sat with her parents and Martha, discussing the visit. "He's trying," Martha said, folding a pile of tiny socks. "That's more than I expected." "He's got a long way to go," James said, his tone gruff. "Trying's one thing, sticking around's another."
Patricia sipped her tea, her eyes on Kelly. "What's your gut telling you?" Kelly sighed, rubbing her temples. "I want to believe him for the girl's sake, but I can't shake Angela's text. She's not going to let this go quietly." Her phone buzzed, and she tensed, expecting another message from Angela. Instead, it was Rachel. "How's it going with Craig? You okay?" Kelly smiled, grateful for her friend's check-in, and typed a quick reply. "He's stepping up, but Angela's a problem. Call you later?" That evening, after the girls were asleep, Kelly sat with her laptop, drafting a plan for mediation. She outlined her terms: supervised visits, no overnight stays until the girls were older, and regular communication to ensure consistency. She emailed it to her lawyer, adding, "Angela contacted me, seems hostile. Please advise on protecting the girls from any legal moves she might make." The next morning, December 27th, Kelly woke to a text from Craig. "Can we meet again today, 11 a.m., the Sweet Bean? I want to talk about next steps." She agreed, arranging for her parents and Martha to watch the girls at the hotel. The coffee shop was busier today, filled with post-Christmas shoppers, but Craig had secured a quiet table in the back. He looked nervous, his hands wrapped around a coffee mug. "Thanks for coming," he said as she sat. "I've been thinking about what you said, about making this work long distance. I want to be part of their lives, Kelly, but I don't know how to do that with you in Boston." "It's not easy," she admitted, "but we can start with visits when you're in Boston for work. Video calls, too. The girls are young, so it's more about consistency than quantity right now." He nodded, his expression serious. "What about Angela? She's not handling this well." "I got a text from her," Kelly said, her voice steady. "She wants to protect her family, I get that, but the girls are my priority, not her feelings." Craig's jaw tightened. "She's threatened to talk to a lawyer. She thinks you're trying to sabotage us." "I'm not," Kelly said firmly. "I'm doing this for my daughters. If she comes after me, I'll be ready." He looked away, his eyes distant. "I don't want this to turn into a war. Jackson is my son, and I love him. But those girls, they're mine, too. I can't ignore that." "Then don't. Show up for them. Prove you're in this." He met her gaze, his eyes resolute. "I will. I'm talking to a lawyer tomorrow to understand my rights. I don't want to fight you, Kelly. Just want to be their dad." Kelly nodded, a cautious relief settling in. "We'll work with my lawyer to set up mediation. Slow steps, Craig, for the girls." They parted with a plan for another park visit that afternoon, and Kelly returned to the hotel feeling a flicker of optimism. But as she helped Martha dress the girls, her phone buzzed with another text from Angela. "You're making a mistake. Craig's mine, and so is our life. Back off." Kelly's blood ran cold, but she didn't respond. Instead, she called her lawyer, leaving a voicemail. "Angela's escalating. I need to know my options to protect the girls. Call me ASAP." The park visit went well, Craig bringing a small kite that delighted Emma and Ava, though Olivia and Sophia were more interested in chasing a butterfly. He was patient, learning their quirks, and Kelly saw glimpses of a father emerging. But Angela's threat lingered, a shadow over the sunny afternoon. That night, as the girls slept, Kelly sat with her parents and Martha, her resolve hardening. "Angela is not going to stop, but I won't let her scare me. The girls come first." "You're doing right by them," Patricia said, her voice firm. "Whatever she throws at you, we've got your back." Kelly nodded, her eyes on the cribs. Emma's bunny, Olivia's blanket, Ava's rattle, Sophia's snowman. They were her world, and no one, not even Angela, could take that away. Tomorrow they'd head back to Boston, but the fight was just beginning. With Craig stepping up and Angela pushing back, Kelly knew she'd need every ounce of strength to protect her daughter's future.
How do you think Kelly should handle Angela's escalating threats while balancing Craig's growing involvement with the girls? Share your thoughts in the comments. The drive back to Boston was a quiet one. The hum of the minivan's tires blended with the soft snores of Emma, Olivia, Ava, and Sophia, nestled in their car seats. Kelly sat in the passenger seat, her parents taking turns at the wheel, while Martha followed in her own car. The Greenwich skyline faded in the rearview mirror, replaced by the open road and the promise of home. But Kelly's mind was far from settled. Angela's latest text, "Craig's mine and so is our life, back off," sat like a stone in her chest, and Craig's tentative steps toward fatherhood added a layer of complexity she hadn't fully anticipated. Her phone buzzed with a new email from her lawyer, but she didn't open it yet. For now, she focused on the girls, their peaceful faces grounding her amidst the brewing storm. It was December 28th, and the weight of the past few days pressed heavily. The Christmas party revelation, Craig's park visits, Angela's hostility, it all felt like a tightrope Kelly was walking blindfolded. She glanced at her mother, Patricia, who was driving, her hands steady on the wheel. "You okay, Mom?" Kelly asked, her voice low to avoid waking the girls. Patricia gave a small nod, her eyes flicking to the rearview mirror. "I'm just fine, but I'm worried about you. That Angela woman's got a mean streak, and I don't trust her to play fair." "Neither do I," Kelly admitted, her fingers tightening around her phone. "But I won't let her scare me." The girls come first. James, in the back with the girls, leaned forward. "You've got a good lawyer. Let her handle Angela. Focus on what's best for those little ones."
Kelly nodded, her gaze drifting to the girls. Emma's bunny was tucked under her chin, Olivia's blanket draped over her lap, Ava's tiny hand still clutching her rattle, and Sophia's snowman toy nestled against her. They were her world, and no matter what Angela threw at her, Kelly would protect them. Back in Boston, they settled into the familiar rhythm of their apartment. The girls' nursery, with its soft yellow walls and stuffed animals, felt like a sanctuary after the chaos of Greenwich. Martha stayed to help with bedtime, her calm efficiency easing the transition. As Kelly bathed the girls, Ava splashed water with a giggle, and Kelly laughed, the sound loosening the knot in her chest. "You're trouble, little one," she said, kissing Ava's wet curls. After the girls were asleep, Kelly sat with her parents and Martha at the kitchen table, finally opening her lawyer's email. Angela's threats could be posturing, but we should prepare for legal action. She may push for a custody challenge on Craig's behalf, claiming disruption to their family. Recommend filing for sole custody now, with provisions for supervised visits if Craig proves reliable. Mediation is set for January 3rd. I'll draft a parenting plan based on your terms. Kelly exhaled, the words both reassuring and daunting. Sole custody felt right, but the idea of a legal battle with Angela made her stomach twist. "She's not going to back down," Kelly said, passing the phone to her parents. "Angela sees the girls as a threat to her perfect life." "She's a bully," Martha said, folding a burp cloth with precision. "But bullies crumble when you stand your ground. You've got the truth on your side." James grunted, his arms crossed. "Craig's the wild card. If he's serious about the girls, he'll have to stand up to her. Question is, will he?" Kelly didn't have an answer. Craig's tenderness at the park had been real, but his life was tangled with Angela and Jackson. She texted him, "We're back in Boston. Mediation set for Jan 3. Let's keep visits virtual for now. Video calls, evenings. I'll send a schedule." His reply came quickly. "Sounds good. I'll call tomorrow at 6 p.m. Thank you, Kelly." The next day, December 29th, life returned to a semblance of normalcy. Kelly took the girls to their favorite park, pushing the quad stroller through slushy paths as they babbled at passing dogs. Her phone buzzed mid-morning, a call from Rachel. "Okay, Spill," she said, her voice bright with curiosity. "How's it going with Craig? And what's up with Angela's drama?" Kelly recounted the park visits and Angela's texts, her voice steady but tired. Craig's trying, but Angela's a problem. She thinks I'm after her life, which is the last thing I want." "You're handling this like a superhero," Rachel said, "but watch your back. Angela sounds like she'd burn the world down to keep her status." "I know," Kelly said, watching Emma toddle toward a slide. "I'm meeting with my lawyer tomorrow to prep for mediation. I just want to keep the girls safe." "You will," Rachel said. "Call me if you need to vent. Or ice cream. Or both." Kelly smiled, grateful for her friend's unwavering support. That evening, Craig's video call came through at 6 sharp. The girls were in their high chairs munching on Cheerios, and Kelly propped her phone on the table. Craig's face filled the screen, his smile tentative but warm. "Hey, girls," he said, waving. Emma squealed, banging her spoon, while Olivia giggled, showing him a Cheerio. Olivia stared at the screen, her blanket in her lap, and Sophia clapped shyly. "They're happy to see you," Kelly said, her tone neutral but encouraging. "Say something, Craig. They love stories." He hesitated, then launched into a clumsy tale about a giraffe named Jerry, clearly tailored to Emma's obsession. The girls listened, rapt, and Kelly felt a flicker of hope. He was trying, and for now, that was enough. Over the next few days, Craig called nightly, each time with a new story or song. The girls began to recognize his face, Emma even pointing at the screen and saying "Data" with glee. Kelly watched closely, noting his consistency, but Angela's silence worried her. No more texts had come, which felt more ominous than her earlier outbursts. On January 2nd, Kelly met with her lawyer, Sarah, in a small Boston office. Sarah was sharp, her desk piled with files, but her demeanor calm. "You're in a strong position," she said, reviewing Kelly's notes. "Craig signed away his rights to the embryos, and you've been the sole caregiver. Any custody claim from him or Angela would face an uphill battle. But we need to be ready for pushback. Angela's likely to argue the girls disrupt their family, especially with Jackson in the picture." "What about Craig's rights as their father?" Kelly asked, her hands clasped tightly. "He'd need to petition for paternity recognition, which could grant him visitation. But given his absence, the court will prioritize the girl's stability. Your terms, supervised visits, gradual progression, are reasonable. We'll push for that in mediation." Kelly exhaled, her resolve firm. "I want the girls protected. If Craig's serious, I'm open to him being involved, but Angela can't touch them." "We'll make that clear," Sarah said, jotting notes. "I've drafted a parenting plan. Sole custody for you, supervised visits for Craig, no contact with Angela unless you approve. We'll present it tomorrow." That night, Craig's video call was quieter, his face drawn. "Angela's hired a lawyer," he admitted after the girls were distracted with toys. "She's pushing for a meeting with you. Says she wants to resolve things." Kelly's jaw tightened. "She already tried that at the Sweet Bean." "I know," he said, his voice heavy. "I'm trying to calm her down, but she feels betrayed. I don't want this to hurt the girls." "Then don't let it," Kelly said, her tone sharp. "You're their father. Protect them even from her." He nodded, his eyes weary. "I'm trying, Kelly. I'll see you at mediation." The mediation session on January 3rd was held in a sterile conference room, the air thick with tension. Kelly sat with Sarah, her posture straight, her heart pounding. Craig arrived with his lawyer, a middle-aged man with a clipped tone. Angela was absent, which Kelly found both relieving and suspicious. The mediator, a calm woman named Ellen, outlined the process, established a parenting plan, and prioritized the children's best interests. Sarah presented Kelly's terms, emphasizing her role as the sole caregiver and the girl's stability in Boston. Craig's lawyer countered, acknowledging his client's desire for involvement, but requesting regular visitation, including weekends in Greenwich. "My client wants to build a relationship with his daughters. He's committed to their well-being." Kelly spoke up, her voice steady. "I'm open to that, but it needs to be gradual. Supervised visits in Boston, video calls, no overnight stays until the girls are older. And I want it clear, Angela has no role in their lives unless I say so." Craig's eyes met hers, a flicker of gratitude in them.
I agree with supervised visits, he said. I want to earn your trust, Kelly, for the girls. The mediator nodded, taking notes. We'll draft an agreement based on this. Sole custody with Miss Thompson, supervised visitation for Mr. Wilson, no contact with Mrs. Wilson without Miss Thompson's consent. We'll reconvene in 3 months to assess progress. As they left, Craig approached Kelly, his lawyer lingering behind. Thank you, he said softly. I know this isn't easy. It's not about easy. It's about them. Back home, Kelly tucked the girls into bed, their familiar routine soothing her. Emma's giraffe book, Olivia's blanket, Ava's rattle, Sophia's snowman, they were her constants. Angela's absence at mediation felt like a temporary reprieve, but Kelly knew the storm wasn't over. She kissed each girl goodnight, whispering, Mama's got you, her resolve unbreakable. Whatever came next, she'd face it for them. Do you think Angela's absence at the mediation signals a retreat, or is she planning something bigger? Share your thoughts in the comments. The Boston apartment was alive with the chaos of a new morning, the January sun streaming through the windows and casting a golden glow on the nursery's yellow walls. Kelly knelt on the floor, helping Emma stack blocks, while Olivia methodically sorted them by color. Ava giggled at a toppling tower, and Sophia clutched her snowman toy, watching her sisters with a shy smile. It was January 10th, a week after the mediation, and life had settled into a cautious new rhythm. The parenting plan was in place. Kelly had sole custody, Craig had supervised visitation rights, and Angela was barred from contact unless Kelly approved. Yet the absence of Angela's hostility since the mediation felt like the calm before a storm, and Kelly couldn't shake the unease that lingered. The past week had been a whirlwind of adjustment. Craig's nightly video calls had become a staple, his goofy animal stories drawing squeals from the girls, especially Emma, who now shouted, "Dada!" at the screen. His first supervised visit in Boston, arranged for tomorrow at a local community center, loomed large. Kelly's lawyer, Sarah, had ensured a neutral supervisor would be present, and Kelly felt a mix of relief and apprehension. Craig's commitment was holding, but Angela's silence was a shadow over it all. Patricia entered with a tray of sippy cups, her eyes warm but searching. "You're deep in thought again. Everything okay?" Kelly nodded, helping Ava with a stray block. "Just thinking about tomorrow, Craig's visit, and Angela's lack of anything." James, reading a newspaper at the table, looked up. "She's too quiet. That woman's not the type to back down." "I know," Kelly said, her voice steady but tired. "Sarah's keeping an eye on things. If Angela tries anything legal, we're ready." Martha arrived, arms full of grocery bags. "Bought some snacks for tomorrow's visit. Figured the girls might need a distraction." "You're a saint," Kelly said, smiling. "I don't know what I'd do without you all." As they prepared lunch, Kelly's phone buzzed with an email from Sarah. "No filings from Angela or Craig's lawyer yet, but I've flagged their accounts for monitoring. Focus on the visit tomorrow. The supervisor's experienced, and I'll be on call." Kelly exhaled, grateful for Sarah's vigilance. She texted Craig to confirm the visit. 1 p.m. Community Center. Bring the giraffe book. Emma's obsessed. His reply was immediate. "Got it. Can't wait to see them. Thanks, Kelly." That afternoon, Kelly took the girls to their playgroup, a weekly ritual that grounded them. The other parents, now familiar with her story, offered quiet support, their smiles a reminder of the community she'd built. One mom, Lisa, pulled her aside. "Heard about your big reveal at that fancy party. You're a rock star, Kelly." Kelly laughed softly, watching Ava chase a ball. "I don't feel like one, just doing what's right for my girls." "You're doing more than that," Lisa said. "You're showing them what strength looks like." Back home, Kelly spent the evening preparing for the visit, packing a bag with diapers, snacks, and toys. The girls, sensing her focus, were extra clingy, and she savored their warmth, kissing their curls as she tucked them into bed. "Tomorrow's a big day, my loves, but Mama's got you." The next morning, January 11th, Kelly woke early, her nerves buzzing. She dressed in a simple sweater and jeans, the heart pendant a quiet reminder of her journey. At the community center, a bright space with colorful murals, the supervisor, a kind-eyed woman named Diane, greeted them. "We'll keep things relaxed. The girls will feel at home." Craig arrived on time, carrying the giraffe book and a small bag of toys. His smile was nervous but genuine, and the girls lit up when they saw him. Emma toddled over, grabbing his hand, while Ava giggled, showing him a block. Ava hung back, watching, and Sophia stayed close to Kelly, her snowman toy in hand. "Hey, little ones," Craig said, kneeling to their level. "Ready for Jerry the giraffe?" He read with enthusiasm, his voice animated, and the girls listened, rapt. Diane took notes discreetly, and Kelly watched, her heart softening, but her guard still up. Craig was patient, following Emma's lead when she wanted to stack blocks, laughing when Ava knocked them over. He even coaxed a smile from Olivia, offering her a toy giraffe from his bag. After an hour, Diane signaled the end of the visit. Craig hugged each girl gently, his eyes glistening. "See you soon," he said, his voice thick. To Kelly he added, "Thank you. This means everything." "It's a start," she said, her tone firm but not unkind. "Keep showing up." As they left, Diane pulled Kelly aside. "He did well. The girls responded to him. We'll document this for the next mediation." Kelly nodded, relief mingling with caution. The visit had gone smoothly, but Angela's absence gnawed at her. That evening she called Rachel, recounting the day. "Craig was great with them, but I'm waiting for Angela to make a move." "She's probably licking her wounds," Rachel said. "You shook her world. Stay strong." The next day, a letter arrived at Kelly's apartment, hand-delivered and addressed to her in elegant script. Her heart sunk as she opened it. A cease-and-desist notice from Angela's lawyer claiming Kelly's actions at the Christmas party constituted intentional infliction of emotional distress and demanding she refrain from further contact with Craig or Jackson. The letter also hinted at a potential custody challenge, citing disruption to the Wilson family unit.
Kelly's hands trembled as she called Sarah, forwarding the letter. "This is a scare tactic," Sarah said after reviewing it. "There's no legal ground for emotional distress here, and any custody claim would be weak. Angela's trying to intimidate you. I'll file a response and request a protective order to keep her away from the girls." "Do it," Kelly said, her voice steely. "She doesn't get to threaten my family." Sarah's response was swift, filing a motion to dismiss Angela's claim and reinforcing Kelly's sole custody. The next mediation, set for April, would address Craig's progress and any further challenges from Angela. In the meantime, Craig's visits continued, each one building a fragile bond with the girls. He called every night, sent small gifts, giraffe stickers for Emma, a soft blanket for Olivia, and showed up for every scheduled visit, even driving to Boston twice a month. By March, the girls were comfortable with him, Emma now running to him with open arms, Ava showing off her toys, Olivia sharing her books, and Sophia warming to his gentle teasing. Kelly watched, her heart torn between pride and caution. Craig was proving himself, but Angela's shadow lingered. Her lawyer had backed off after Sarah's response, but Kelly knew Angela wasn't done. On March 15th, Craig called with news. "Angela and I are separating," he said, his voice heavy. "She can't handle the girls being part of my life. I'm moving to a smaller place in Greenwich, but I'll keep coming to Boston. I want to be their dad, Kelly, no matter what." Kelly's breath caught, a mix of relief and complexity washing over her. "I'm sorry it came to that," she said, meaning it. "But the girls need you to keep showing up." "I will," he promised. "I'm not walking away again." The April mediation confirmed the parenting plan, with Craig's visits now unsupervised but still in Boston. Angela's absence was notable, her lawyer citing personal circumstances. Sarah whispered to Kelly, "She's out of moves for now. You've won this round." Back home, Kelly sat with the girls, reading their favorite giraffe book. Emma pointed at the pictures, Ava giggled, Olivia listened intently, and Sophia snuggled close. The heart pendant around Kelly's neck felt lighter, a symbol of closure and new beginnings. Angela's threats had faded,
Craig was stepping up, and the girls were thriving. Kelly had fought for them, faced her fears, and built a family stronger than she'd ever imagined. As she tucked them into bed, she whispered, "You're my everything." The road ahead might hold new challenges: co-parenting with Craig, navigating his separation, ensuring the girls' happiness, but Kelly was ready. She'd carried 4 daughters into the world, faced a room full of judgment, and stood firm against Angela's rage. Whatever came next, she'd face it with the strength of a mother who'd never stop fighting for her girls. How do you think Kelly and Craig's co-parenting relationship will evolve, and what role might Angela play in the future? Share your thoughts in the comments. Wow, thank you so much for watching. Seriously, your support means the world to me. If you enjoyed this video, the biggest way you can show me love and encourage me to keep creating is to hit that like button and subscribe. It takes 1 second, but it makes a huge difference. Speaking of more videos, I've got another exciting one lined up for you. Just click on the next video showing right on your screen now to keep the fun going. See you there!